So you want to play Resto Shaman in Mythic Plus in Dragonflight Season 2. Resto Shaman is looking like a fantastic pick in Season 2 of Dragonflight with awesome healing throughput, great passive damage, and all the utility that you could want. In this video we'll go over talent, stats, the new tier set, your healing rotation, cooldowns, damage, and utility. This is an updated version of my 10.0.7 guide for patch 10.1, and some of it might sound a little familiar since there is not a ton changing. So let's start with the new tier set. The 2-set bonus makes it so when you cast Healing Rain, each ally with your Riptide on them is healed by Tidewaters, and the 4-set bonus makes it so each ally healed by Tidewaters increases your healing done by 1% for 6 seconds and increases the healing of your next healing wave or healing surge by 10% and your next chain heal by 2%. This set is going to reward you for having Riptides on people when you drop Healing Rain. Having Riptides up is basically just part of playing Shaman correctly, so you should be benefiting from this pretty passively, and I don't see it changing your gameplay too much. It might seem a little counterintuitive to run the Flow of the Tides talent with this set as it consumes Riptide, but given all the synergy between the chain heal talents and just how strong that build is, it seems unlikely that this is going to be strong enough that you're going to want to drop Flow of the Tides for it and talent around the tier set instead. So not really a fantastic set for Mythic Plus, I'd say, especially since it's purely healing based and doesn't contribute to damage at all. Still, stronger heals are stronger heals, and you'll want to pick it up when you can. Let's get into talents next. Here's my recommended setup, and we'll go over a couple of possible variations. For the Shaman tree, this would be my default setup if you don't need Purge or any special dispels, which honestly is going to be quite rare in Season 2. The highlights here, we're taking lots of shield talents, which when combined with our Resto tree is going to make our Earth shield really strong. We're grabbing Ancestral Guidance, which is a great healing cooldown, and then working into Nature's Swiftness, which has a lot of versatile uses, and of course getting Thundershock to take advantage of this amazing stop that will save you a ton of healing in dungeons if you use it frequently and at the right moments. So let's talk about what to do when you need to flex a couple points here in order to take Purge, Improved Purify Spirit for curses, or Poison Cleansing Totem. The first point I'd drop would be Spirit Wolf, the second would be Graceful Spirit, and in the case of needing to drop a third point, I'd take it from Nature's Fury. Getting into the Resto tree now, we're going to heavily focus on chain heal talents, as I still believe this is the best choice going into the new season, likely even when you achieve your 4-set bonus. Highlights on this side include Flow of the Tides, which will consume a Riptide but make your chain heal stronger, High Tide, which will again empower chain heals after you meet a mana threshold, and Tidebringer, which will decrease the cast time and increase the range of, you guessed it, chain heal. Another notable talent here is Primordial Wave, which yes, does kind of suck without its synergizing talents, but can essentially be treated as another charge of Riptide to throw out, which will synergize with your Flow of the Tides talents, as well as your tier set. And the following healing wave isn't awful. You're also finishing your Earth Shield synergies here with Earth and Harmony, and with all these shield talents together you'll be able to shield yourself as well as an ally and have 2 6% damage reduction shields up at all times, which is pretty sweet. If you're interested in this talent build, you can check out the import code in the description below. Alright, let's briefly talk about stats. I generally push you for item level here in most cases, but if you're looking for some stats on a crafted item or you have 2 items of the same level, Crit and Verse are very good, but you also don't want to completely neglect Haste either, as it will especially help you with your DPS. I'd recommend going for a good balance of these 3 stats and in Void Mastery for M+ if you can. Okay, so let's get into the healing rotation. Shaman has some of the most straightforward healing in the game, which is why I often recommend it to newer healers, but it also has enough depth to keep you interested and make the spec fun for advanced players too. So first off, your upkeep spells you want to maintain all the time. Remember, we spec'd pretty heavily into shields, so we want to make sure we maintain earth shields on ourselves and the tank with as much uptime as possible. Now, if you know that a DPS is going to be taking a lot of damage, you can always throw that 6% damage reduction earth shield on them too, but whoever you throw it on, you're both going to be getting healing benefits from it as well as that 6% DR. Also, remember to keep Water Shield on yourself for mana. You have 2 charges of Riptide, and you want to keep them off cooldown as much as possible, meaning ideally you have 3+ Riptides running on your group all the time. We can also throw Primordial Wave in here as another charge of Riptide. I'm not going to go over all of them because there's so many, but just know you have many talents that synergize or are optimized when used on targets with Riptide. now including your force set as well, and you want to have as many of these things rolling on your group as possible. On top of that, try and maintain high uptime on that healing rain. It doesn't heal for a ton, but since we're talented into acid rain, you are going to be doing a ton of damage with it. Finally, you can essentially use Cloudburst off cooldown whenever there's a little damage going out. Cloudburst basically saves a portion of the healing that you do while it's up and then bursts and divides that healing among your party. Those Riptides and Chain Heals are going to contribute a lot of healing into your Cloudburst totem, and while you might try and min-max this a bit when you get a little bit more advanced, you can pretty much drop Cloudburst during times when you're healing, and it will mostly take care of yourself. An important note about Cloudburst healing is that the healing that comes from the Cloudburst totem actually resonates out of your character, meaning that you want to position yourself in such a way that that healing is actually going to reach your party. It really doesn't matter where the totem itself is set. Once more damage is going out than your simple maintenance spells can handle, we can dip into some other heals. Healing Surge is great for single target spot healing, healing for a lot but not super mana efficient, while Healing Wave is a more efficient single target heal that's a good deal slower. We obviously spent a lot of talents buffing our chain heal and want to make good use of it, but at the same time, we want to maximize those talent points and use the spell wisely. To do this, it's nice to hold your chain heal until you have the benefits of both High Tide and Tidebringer, and then make sure you cast it on someone with a Riptide on them, preferably one that's about to drop off if you really want to min-max your healing. This is how you're going to get fast, big chain heals that really move the health bars and not run yourself out of mana. I'd recommend having your chain heal buffs tracked somewhere on your UI so you're aware of the optimal time to use it. If you like the UI you see here on screen, you can check out the join button to become a YouTube channel member and get access to my full UI, all parts of it included. But please, just don't spam chain heal brainlessly and say it's not a good spell. Remember, with our talent build, we can also drop a Mana Tide totem to get even faster chain heals for 10 seconds while getting super mana efficient spells. Okay, Shaman is a class with lots of cooldowns, both big and small, so let's get into our healing CDs. We'll start with our mini CDs and work our way up. Nature's Swiftness basically makes your next nature spell instant. There's a few ways we can utilize it. The classic way is at a single target oh shit button when somebody drops critically low. Remember that Healing Wave heals for more than Healing Surge, so it's better used with NS for this purpose. It can also be used with the Chain Heal if you need an emergency AoE heal. If you're confident that you won't need it for healing, you can always use it for an instant chain lightning or to get that healing rain down really quickly and move on to other things, which is one of my personal favorites. Another mini CD is Primordial Wave. Primordial Wave will put a Riptide on a target and then make your next Healing Wave heal everyone with a Riptide on them. So if you've been on top of your Riptides and have several of them out, you can use Primordial Wave on someone with no Riptide, then Healing Wave someone to have that Healing Wave hit everyone with Riptide. You can even use Nature's Swiftness on that Healing Wave to get the healing out really fast. It's an okay way to heal people from AoE damage, but not amazing, and Primordial Wave is not a talent everyone takes, so use your discretion as to whether or not you want to use it. I kind of go back and forth, but I do think just because of the fact that it gives us an extra Riptide, it is worth taking. Okay, let's talk Ancestral Guidance, which is a significant cooldown because it's a fairly big cooldown, but it's 2 minutes rather than 3 like your other big ones. So I usually consider this the first major cooldown I pop on a boss or a big trash pack. AG converts 25% of the healing and damage you do into healing for your party, making it a nice throughput CD. One of my favorite things to do is line it up with Stormkeeper, so that when you pop AG, you instantly throw out 2 Chain Lightnings or Lightning Bolts to get a big burst of healing from that. So use this first on a boss fight, and you'll likely get a second use of it toward the end of the fight. Spirit Link Totem is on a 3-minute cooldown that you're going to want to think of as a health equalizer, since it's essentially what it does. It's best used when there's a notable discrepancy in the health of party members, as it will increase the HP of lower health people but lower the HP of higher health people, and is not a great thing to use, say, if everyone's super low. You can use this on any number of people, so don't be afraid to throw it out just to save one person that drops critically low, particularly the tank. Finally, another 3-minute cooldown is Ascendancy. This duplicates your healing and spreads it across your group. This is a great CD to pop when your group is taking a lot of damage, and the more healing you do in Ascendant form, the more you'll benefit from the cooldown. Also, don't neglect the fact that it does a pretty notable amount of healing when you pop it to yourself, which can be life-saving. Like Cloudburst, the healing from Ascendancy comes from your player's position. So make sure that you position yourself in such a way that everyone will be in range of you when this healing is coming out. Finally, let's talk Healing Tide Totem. This doesn't heal for a huge amount, but it can help support you during long, consistent damage phases. Just don't rely on it alone to keep your group alive through big damage, but if you need a little extra healing oomph, especially if you need to do a lot of moving, Healing Tide can really help you with that. Like all the healing specs, a big part of your success in keys is going to be how well you rotate through your cooldowns and using the right ones in the right situations. So use them as often as you reasonably can to get a feeling of what they do and what works in what situation. Shaman is a very high damage healer. For single target, you want to cast Stormkeeper, apply Flame Shock, Lava Burst to get your Master of the Elements buff, Healing Rain, yep, even on single target, and then cast Lava Burst on cooldown while spamming Lightning Bolts. For AoE, we want Stormkeeper again, Lava Burst and then Acid Rain for your buff, Flame Shock, and then keep spamming Chain Lightning. Keep spreading your Flame Shocks when they come off cooldown to additional targets as you can. Use your Lava Burst procs for Chain Lightning or Acid Rain once it comes off cooldown. Utility is something I get pretty excited about from Resto Shaman, especially if you do a lot of pugging like I do. Resto Shaman just has a lot of control over trash pulls, which means you can be your own best friend and prevent a ton of damage from going out. You have a 12-second cooldown kick with Wind Shear and should be actively competing with the other members of your groups for most interrupts in a run. You have Capacitor Totem as an AoE stun every minute. Try to put it to good use. You have Thunder Shock on a 25-second cooldown to stop casts and interrupt mobs, but keep in mind you need to be within 10 yards of an enemy to hit them with it. I really can't stress enough how amazing it is to have this much control as a healer, and you can really reduce the amount of healing you need to do by not letting dangerous casts and abilities go out, so use your CC. Earth Elemental is a great spell. If a tank ever goes down, this should be something you instantly press because it can tank incredibly well and save the group from a full wipe. Can also be great if there's something nasty on the tank like a Mortal Strike and they need some breathing room. Definitely a talent worth a point to use in case things go south. And also, we did spend a point in Windrush Totem, so don't forget to lay that down to help yourself and others get a little speed boost to move out of mechanics wherever necessary. So I hope this guide helps you with Resto Shaman on your Dragonflight Season 2 Mythic Plus journey. If it does, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Really helps me out. Also, you can check out my live stream right here on YouTube, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 9 p.m. Pacific, where we play Resto Shaman and lots of other healers too. It's a lot of fun. I hope I can see you guys there sometime. Now, if you guys are interested on what I think about the Dragonflight Season 2 meta, please check out my Dragonflight Season 2 Mythic Plus healer tier list that's on screen right now. Happy healing, everybody.